Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 40 of Oxygen Not Included. We have some good news, bad news to start today off. First of all, I've just brought Demon's rocket back down to the surface. During the time he was out for almost 100 cycles. He produced 1,700 databanks with no ill effects. So, rocket worked great. We have enough databanks to do our research that we need to finish, and so we're gonna plug away on that and get that achievement done and get all of our new rockets unlocked. Bad news is, when I had this set up for our petroleum, I had the two lines coming from our petroleum tank at the bottom of the map going into here and here. That was a mistake, since no petroleum was flowing into this top row. Our backup generators never ran when we needed more power, and so we were running off of 4 petroleum generators, which is not enough to power the base as it is. So basically, we finished up all of our oil reserves, so this petroleum boiler shut off. I mean, it still was making oil whenever oil came over from the slicksters, but that's a very small amount. And so this row of tanks just completely ran dry. To fix that, I rerouted the pipes so that they go to the first and second row like they're supposed to. The overflow goes into the third row, which is what goes off to Gargani. So this is powering things back up. But when we ran out of power, we had a lot of things that broke. Our oxygen was one of them. These pumps kept running out of power, so we weren't getting enough oxygen into our base. So our base is it's getting back to normal now, but we were down to like 100 grams per tile, and our duplicates were struggling. We also didn't have enough oxygen going to keep all of our suits filled up, and this second half of suits ran out. I'm not sure why they didn't get restocked, but that's fixed now, so we have duplicates able to get out of the base. Running out of power did a lot of damage down here that I haven't even looked at yet, but the main problem is that when the power shut off down here, we had problems with the automation not shutting off correctly. And when it came back on, we caused all kinds of damage. So we have a lot of things we need to fix down here. So what I did for now is I set this automation so that the temperature sensor is at 0 degrees. So basically that means that these doors will never close as long as there's fluid in here, because it's going to be above 0 degrees. And that way I can get in here and work on fixing this stuff up. We also had some overflow issues here that I need to take care of. This tank is temporary and it's getting moved, so it's not that big of a deal. There's no longer any petroleum going in here, but I need to clear out the petroleum here. And petroleum got into our oil reservoir, which is not a huge problem because it'll get pumped out through these pumps, which puts it into the petroleum boiler. So since it's going to be boiled into petroleum anyway, it will just get processed through like the rest of the oil and get taken out. But so I have a lot of issues that I need to fix down here on this boiler to get this working again, and to make it so that its automation is better, so that if there is an event where this boiler shuts down, then when it fires back up, it actually fires back up. Because the problem occurs when oil stops flowing in and it doesn't shut down correctly. So then when you put more oil in, it doesn't heat up fast enough, and you have oil spilling over, which causes all kinds of pressure issues because the liquids back up, because there's two different liquids in the system. So I'm going to work on figuring that out. I'll get that fixed. In the meantime, we're going to let Demon continue on doing research. One of the big things that he's unlocking, which is really cool, is our petroleum rocket engine, which means we'll be able to power our rocket with petroleum instead of using steam, because steam is a pain in the butt. But We don't have that much to do until we're completely finished with our research, which is excellent. That'll knock out another achievement. Um, but so while that's going on, I'm going to finish this, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about our plans for the rest of the episode and for the rest of the series, because we're getting close to being done with all of the achievements. So I'll be back shortly. We are making some progress on our research here. It's trucking right along. We got plenty of data banks left to do it. I just have to get them out of the rocket, I think. Big problems what we're having right now is trying to get this area all cleaned out. I'm just trying to vacuum it all out, pump everything out, and all that good stuff. There's a lot of heat issues here, so one thing I'm doing is putting in a liquid lock to go into this area over here, because I want to dig into the magma biome and do some changes down in here, which I'll have to do very slowly, but I need to make sure the heat doesn't get across, because when I opened it up, the heat transferred into the oil and quickly turned it into sour gas. So I'm pumping all of that out. I have it all set to filter it up so that the sour gas is just being vented into space as it goes through, but it's a slow process. Somehow I got water into all kinds of places that I shouldn't have, so now my natural gas has steam into it, all kinds of problems. So a lot of things to fix, a lot of little things to work out. Originally, when I was pumping out this extra oil that I accidentally got in here, I was using a plastic pump, a little mini pump, and it immediately melted and turned into naphtha. So now I have to deal with that getting pumped out through. So just little problems that I didn't expect. So it's slowly taking its time getting all this cleaned back up and getting all this rebuilt, but we'll get there. I'm going to make some improvements so that we have a little bit better automation on it too when we get to that point, so that we don't have to deal with problems in the future, hopefully. But I'm going to keep working at it, and I'll come back once we have it all finished. Note an important change I made. I'm digging up obsidian and abyssalite from the magma biome that's really super hot. So I removed obsidian and abyssalite from our automatic dispensers here, because I do not want duplicates picking that up and putting it into storage up there, because it'll boil the water off, and then we'll have gases in our system that we don't want. And so I just put a storage bin down here. I am adding obsidian, I think it was on abyssalite into there, and so that way we have somewhere for it to go when we're sweeping up items, because I'm sweeping it up down here, and I just want to have somewhere for duplicates to put it up into storage. Basically, I'm trying to make sure that I don't have it here when I break through here, because I don't want anything dropping down into the magma biome that they're going to have to go pick up. Once I get down here, I'll clean all this out too. But my main goal right now is I want to get a ladder down in here, just so I can get a few blocks placed and clean some of this up, because I want to lower this whole system down in the future, which means I have to get some space for the magma to go so that it doesn't overpressurize and crack the line. But it's going to take a little while, but I just wanted to show you that I did make that change, just in case anybody is doing something similar in the future. If you forget to do that, you're going to end up boiling all your water off, and then if you have anything in there that's off-gassing, it's going to fill your base up with gases that you don't want to deal with in there. So thought I'd just give you that tip while I thought of it. I got the steam out of my natural gas lines to my natural gas storage, and I fixed the oil over the vents once again. Also working on rerouting some of the piping. Figured while I'm here, clean it up a little bit. So I just moved it to 3 different high pressure gas vents and put them all close together so I could use less liquid in here to do it. It was a little bit of an annoyance because some of the steam that got in here turned into water. So all I did is I turned my bottle emptier that's down in my oil biome off so that it's not collecting the crude oil. I mopped the entire room out, and then I did a sweep. Well, the crude oil had nowhere to go, so it stayed. The water got taken out, and then I just opened all the bottles, like emptied them in place. Like if you click on a liquid bottle like this, you can just click on empty, and it will empty right where it is, and then it put the oil right back where it needs to be. So that's a nice little trick. I got to go down and turn that bottle emptier back on so the oil plate has places to go again. But I'm going to put in one last tile here, and then we'll have enough liquid in these 3 tiles that this will keep emptying out, and we can get all of our natural gas flowing again. We have a ton of storage of natural gas anyway, but I just need somewhere for it to go so that we can get it out of the oil reservoirs down at the bottom of the base. So, oh man, it looks like we just had some more steam pop in. Thought I had the last one, but I didn't. Okay, so what we need to do is, once again, do a high priority mop in here. This water here is going to be an issue. Oh, it actually all went over to there. So it's not an issue. So let's cancel these. And we'll empty this out again. And that will allow the oil to go back in. This water can sit right here for now. I'll deal with it later. But so that works out. Now you can actually see what I mean when I said that. So I mopped it, and it's staying in this canister. It has nowhere to go. So even though I'm trying to sweep it, it's not going anywhere. And I have it set on empty, high priority. So Calico is currently running up here and emptying that crude oil right onto the floor again. Takes a few seconds, and then there we go. Now we're back to everything working again. Gas is pumping out. So we're set. So if we have any more steam that's in the pipe that I missed, we'll just have to come up and do that again. But I'm pretty sure I got it all out at this point. The reason that steam had gotten in the first place was because I had cracked that heat, and it had caused the piping that was bringing water into here to overheat, and the water turned into steam inside the pipe. So all I need to do is make sure that there is not any chance of overheating again down here. So I'll actually still have a tiny bit of water in here. That's where my problem is. So there might be steam still in here. I'll have to get that water out so it doesn't overheat, but that's another problem to fix. This is my oil pump, so I'll turn this back on, and now all the excess oil we have has somewhere to go. But anyway, I just wanted to show you how to deal with that problem when it occurs. I'm still having some water pop out of pipes in here, you can see, because the temperatures in here too are pretty high. I'll get that all fixed and get this running again, but it's going to take a little bit of time. The sour gas situation in here is still being dealt with, but it's mostly out now. Getting down to the low grams, soon it'll be all cleaned out, and then I can start working on redesigning this. You can see this is kind of how I want to have the pump down here for petroleum when we're done. I cleaned up the pipes, made it so that there's just one pipe coming in. The hydro sensor that turns this pump on is over on this side, and so once it fills up, it'll pump out, and then nice clean line going up. I did connect these pumps, so they are pumping the petroleum out of here up to the main tank. So that's working well. It has quite a bit of backlog to go, and there's still pumps over here working and pulling it up too. But once those are done, this one will take over fully, and we'll be able to supply petroleum to our generators. So we're all set there. The final change I made is I just put in a little system here, put this pump back in so that it was. Oh, why is it damaged? High temperatures in here or something? It's weird. I'll work on figuring that out. But basically, I have this set up so that I can empty petroleum into here, and then the petroleum fills up this reservoir first, which is the one that goes up to our plastic presses, and then if any more than that goes in, it goes into this reservoir, which feeds into our main line over here. So I can have an ability to empty petroleum in place, like the canisters, if I mop it up, and not worry about it filling this room up like it did before. This is set to not enable auto bottle. If I do need to get extra petroleum for plastic in the future, I can turn that on and set up a pitcher pump so we can bring some down that way, rather than having to run a whole new pipe down here. But I doubt that that'll become an issue. The amount of plastic we need is not super high anymore. Though I think I do need to figure out why these aren't running, because I think I'm out of plastic now, because I took it all to the rocket. But more things to figure out, but slowly getting systems foolproof. So I'll be back once we get more done and are finished with this cleaning out, so we can work on the boiler more. Fortnite was 10 seconds away from death and made it back to the triage cot. He was the champ who came in here, closed up my magma to this boiler that I am decommissioning. But he's here suffering from very severe wounds and being treated. Teak also took a good bit of damage in the process. So, good job, guys. Good job on not dying. This system up here, it broke, and I was like, this is a little bit of oil that's going in here. I can redirect down to the new boiler. So we're just slowly closing it up. I'm just trying to do it in a slow process so that I don't have too much heat get into anything and cause us to have sour gas issues to deal with up here, because that would be really annoying. So, really quickly get rid of this oil that's spilled down here. It's too much. Okay, well, we'll just deal with it. That means it's going to get pumped into, probably get pumped up into our power generator as this empties out. Not the end of the world. I think the next step I want to do, I now have a pump here to empty that out. I want to come down here now that I have this petroleum pumping up the other direction. I'm going to cut off these two pumps so that I no longer have petroleum pumping up from down here through this system, so I can decommission that. So these two petroleum lines will empty out. These reservoirs will empty out, and then we will have all of this reservoir here empty out, so that I can get rid of this whole area, because that's our main goal in moving our petroleum, so we don't have this heat going in here. All of this needs to be cleaned out so we can cool down the entire base. Only issue is that I have a line of petroleum from here that goes to the Gorgani base, and I don't have any line from the new tank running to that. I'll have to figure out how I want to handle that. Probably I'll just run another line over and then have it come down this way, since I already have the line in place. But we have quite a reservoir built up, and the Gorgani base is barely using petroleum anymore. So I think it's an issue that we won't need for quite a while. So I will focus on that later. But for now, this is all sealed up, so the magma's not going to put any heat out, and I don't have to go back in there for a while. I probably will reuse this for something else in the future, but I'm going to end up ripping out the old boiler and getting all these liquids cleaned up and all that stuff in the future. And redirect the oil to flow down into here once I get this boiler back up and running. I need to get it working on getting this done, so I'm hoping this gas gets emptied out soon, because while we have a bit of a reservoir of petroleum here and some backup here, we burn through a lot of petroleum powering this base, and I need to get the oil flowing again. But we will get there. Uh, let's check in on our research to see how our research is doing. We've gotten a good bit of it done. These end game researches take 250 and like um, you know 370 there. Some of them are out in the 400s. So it takes quite a bit of time to do the research. I have all the materials I need to do it, but once we finish this set of research, we have a little bit more to do here, and then we just have these last three and this one, and then we're completely done with research. So I'm going to let the research continue going while I finish working on getting this petroleum boiler set up. And when we come back for the next episode, I will have this boiler working and I will have the research finished so that we can get that achievement done. And we will go from there. So, hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a bit of a cleanup episode, getting some things working again. But next one, we will do some more interesting new stuff. My plan is to start off by finishing off that research, and then we're going to build a new rocket that can go much farther and do some more interesting things in space and collect some new resources that we haven't used before. So that is our next goal. I think that'll be pretty interesting in the next episode. Hope to see you then. Have a good day. Bye-bye.